This is a cool shot here. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. We're doing something kind of the same, but a little different, to steal tagline from one of my favorite YouTubers. We're joined by Jon Miller from Hive Lighting and Jackson Davis, along with, I did a terrible job here, and I didn't get your name. I didn't get our model's name for the day.
It's Alita.
Alita. So thanks, guys, for being here. Welcome back. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing great. Thank you for having us.
we've got Jon speaking on behalf of everybody, but we'll get Jackson in there with some audio as well, and we'll be talking through it. If you're concerned that something is wrong with your video feed, it's not. This is actually, as we were talking about in the green room, we're bringing back lo-fi over here. So Zoom, as always, loves to throttle our data. So we've got a little data throttling going on, but not to worry about it. The images, we've tested them out already, and they're ready to go in high res. So you should see everything perfectly. We're going to be talking about lighting for headshots with Hive Lighting. So really excited to bring that to you guys. And I want to thank, as always, Jon Miller, as well as all the rest of the gang over at Hive Lighting for being here. If you have any questions that you want to get over to them and address with the headshots, feel free. Anything regarding headshots, lighting, any of that stuff, that's what we're here to do. So if you're joining us here on Zoom, use the Q&A tab. And if you're joining us on Vimeo or Facebook, you can use the comment section. But I like to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to hand it over to you, Jon, Jackson, and I'll see you back in a little bit.
Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so we are here in Hive showroom in downtown Los Angeles. Apologies for the video quality. We had hoped to show it off a little bit better, but you'll get some great images through Jackson's camera directly. If you're not familiar with Hive Lighting is a US-based manufacturing company that produces lighting for film, television, and photography. And everything we do at Hive Lighting is LED. So one of the things that we really want to show off on this live event, hopefully, is kind of the process for doing headshot photography, something that's traditionally done with a flash monolight strobe type technology with continuous lighting. And so Hive Lighting does continuous lighting, and everything that we do is designed to work with photo modifiers. So what we mean by that is that we're able to work with the kind of modifiers that you might associate with a flash head from manufacturers like Broncolor or Profoto, but you're actually able to use them with a continuous light source. So what you'll see in our setup today is going to be a pretty large modifier that is a third-party modifier, but using a simple adapter for Profoto, you're able to mount it directly onto one of our lights. And we'll be using the Super Hornet 575C, which is a 500-watt LED. And without going too much more into detail about the setup, I'll let Jackson talk about that some more. In general, if you're curious about Hive Lighting, we also have all of the information on the products we'll be showing today on our website at hivelighting.com, or you can check out the storefront on B&H. So if you want to follow along while we're doing this class, you can check that out on bnh.com with the Hive storefront, where you can check out all the products we'll be using. And you can also learn some more on our website, which is hivelighting.com. So with all that being said, I'd like to introduce our photographer, Jackson Davis, and our model, Alita, whose last name I've just forgotten. Alita Lachey. So they're going to be helping demonstrate kind of the uses of the technology, the ability to use our color tunability. And one of those key things in color tunability is we have the ability to change the color temperature, but we also have the ability to add saturation and hue. So we'll try and give you some different looks along with some very traditional headshots. Also maybe kind of show you the breadth and width of the technology by giving you some insight into different colors, color temperatures, saturation, and maybe if we can pull it off, a couple tricks with the background itself. Ooh. So with that being said, now that I've set you up
some tricks. I love it. Yeah. Hello. Should I give a little background about myself?
Yeah. So I think Jackson, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jackson Davis. First of all, I'd just like to thank B&H for having me. I'd like to thank Hive Lighting for having me and for doing this event. I'd like to thank Alita Lachey, the great. You can follow her on Instagram. I think it's just Alita Lachey. Yeah. Follow her. She's great. So thank you everyone for watching as well. I am Jackson Davis. I am a headshot photographer. I've been doing it for 10 years. I started as an actor, which I think gives me a little bit of an insight to the whole headshot game, because I know what it's like to, be on both sides of the camera. And I love actors. I love giving actors what they need, how to give them a headshot that looks like them, which is kind of my motto personally. And I started, how most headshot photographers start, which is like my apartment in WeHo, move all the furniture to the side, have your friends come and use the window light, and I have, graduated to my own studio and using lights and using different modifiers and as well as natural light. And what I've found, not to toot Jon's horn over here, is that LEDs are my absolute favorite to use. I've used it all. And I love LEDs because I can see, like, look right here, look at Alita's face. You can see exactly what you're going to get, which is like so great to me, especially when you're talking about different color schemes, which is another thing this light does, which I love, which we'll get into. But I guess we should, that's a little bit about me and my headshot.
Yeah. Do you want to take some photos?
So should we take some photos?
Let's take some photos. Let's get into it. Yeah, I think let's start.
Let me grab the camera.
Yeah, so I'll attempt to host for Jackson while he's doing stuff. But yeah, Jackson, why don't you just tell us what you're doing? Get started.
Yeah, so like I said, I've started with using, typically on a typical day for me, I'll use the mixture of daylight balanced with this light over here. And I kind of use them both, but here I love this scenario because when people are starting out with headshots or even not starting out, I know a lot of world-class headshot photographers who have no window light at all, and they just are strictly using lights. And that's the scenario we're in right now. And I love that we can show that the output of this light is so great. And this modifier makes it so soft. So I'm going to try to put the light at this angle right here, which Alita's cheekbones are so amazing. I really want to carve out that one side. So I'll move it over here. We're getting a little bounce off that side and she's looking perfectly right there. Hold that right there. That is gorgeous. Look at that natural smile, which is always what I'm looking. My number one thing is authenticity with headshots. The more authentic you can be, the better. Hold that right there. That's really great. I'm gonna go a little bit wider. Really nice. Now turn your body away from the light. Let's just see that profile shot right there. That's great. Hold that. Gorgeous. And now give me just your eyes right there. Oh, I love that. Now angle yourself towards the light completely, your whole body right in there. Hold that. I don't want to get in the way of the camera. I'm going to switch sides over here. Hold that. Give your head just a little bit of a tilt to the side that way. That's great. Now give me just your eyes right there. Great. Hold that. Now this one I call the detective. Put your hand up. Just your hand up, kind of like out a little bit like that. Right, hold Jackson. That right there. Hold that. And now look at me. I mean, doesn't she look like a detective right there? Like she wants to ask me a few questions about the night of the 23rd. Where were you, Mr. Davis, on the night of the 23rd?
Okay, so I'm going to pause you for a second because, as per usual, technical issues. So we briefly untethered.
I felt that happen too. I feel like I felt it in my soul. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it, but I felt it, right?
So this is the joy of a live event. So everyone watching along, thank you for your patience. You're about to see all the photos that we're just taking seconds from now. But in the meantime, why don't we bring up the live, Roland? Okay. Yeah, there we go. And then keep going.
Yeah.
And then we'll sort it out on the back end. Don't stop on.
Don't stop because So this is also a great technique of any light is you can change a lot of what's going on by just shifting it across. And I like to feather the old light off to the side. So let's give a nice feather. Step a little bit closer in it. Hold that right there. Great. That is beautiful. Hold that. Now rotate a little bit. Hold that just like that. Come in a little bit closer.
There we go. All right. Go for it. We're
live
again.
Great. And for all you people who might be interested in what I'm shooting at, this is, I'm at 800 and a 1.4. That's right. You heard correctly. I'm at aperture 1.4. I love 1.4 for headshots because what is a headshot about? Answer, the eyes, you got it. And I feel like 1.4, if you really, and with the technology that these cameras have now, they can just laser in on that eye and everything else kind of fades away. And it really just draws you right into that eye. Hold that. That is gorgeous. This is what I'm talking about right here. Look at that little kicker light on the side of her face there too. It is Gorgeous. Look at that. And look at the shirt Alita's wearing today too. This is a big part of headshots too. Outfits, you know, complementary. I personally, huge fan of the monochromatic look. So we got white on white with a little black polka dots. It just, I also think that draws people to the face. You know, if everything, all the colors are the same, pow, we get, and this is something we're going to do a little later, is we're going to change the color of the backdrop. So let's say your client doesn't have a white shirt or whatever, and they're coming in with like a red shirt. Oh no, I want to do a red backdrop. How do I do it? We have an answer for you on just how to do that. I'm going to shoot a couple more. That's really great. Stay right in there, and I'm going to change angles over here. Oh my God, I love that. Give me just your eyes right there. Oh, so good. Now, ideally, I would love to have a little kicker light because this is super dramatic. Head tilt that way, chin over that way, hold that right there. I mean, this is maybe a little too dramatic for a headshot, but I mean, we're making art here, people. This is art.
So when you're sending right now, you've got your, so we talked a little bit.
Whoopsie. Sorry.
So we were talking a little bit
not
about
an
the settings on your camera, right? And you're talking about your lens settings. Can
Yes.
you tell me a little bit about the light settings we have right now? So the light, if I have this correctly, is set to 5600 daylight. What is your camera set to?
That is also set to 5600.
Okay, so we're going for a neutral look.
Neutral look. I like if anything, I like to go a little cooler.
Okay.
Which is this 56 is reading a little cooler to me than it is warmer. And that's kind of where I like to personally live. But again, that is up to you and anybody, the photographer's choice, you know?
Do you want to show a different color temperature from the light at all?
Yeah, I would love to do that. Let's do,
Okay.
let's maybe let's maybe do a warmer tone.
Do something a little bit warmer?
Yeah, whoa, hello. Is it summertime? Yes, I think it is. Now this is a whole different feel right here. Oh, I love it. You just look down. And now just look up slowly to me and look up even more right there. That's gorgeous. I mean, this is definitely a different mood completely. Can we do, let's do a little cooler.
Okay.
Can we add a little color?
Yeah, we definitely can.
I would love to see what a red looks like on
A little red?
a little red.
Okay.
Hit me with a little red. Isn't that a Britney Spears song?
Here's a
Back in the day?
little red.
Oof. Love it. I love it. Stay right in that. Hold that. Great. Come around a little bit to me and head tilt a little that way. I mean, you can see the kind of versatility you can get with this light and, you know, with your subject, depending on their skin tone, what they're wearing. If you are using natural light, which I do a lot, that changes throughout the day, you know, and especially because I depend on bounce off of buildings, which gives it a little orange, you know, because the building paint is kind of like a warmer tone. So like using this light, you can kind of match that, or you can go against it, try to cancel it out. So it's really handy to have this ability to subtly change the light color or dramatically. I mean, we could go, can you hit me with like a crazy red?
Dramatic? Yeah,
like,
go all the way.
like a sub at night, you know, like the USS, we're like,
a warning red?
yeah, the warning red. This is really cool though. I mean, now we're talking definitely art. This is like, yeah, hold that right there. Can I get a little more? Actually, no, this is perfect. This is really great. Yeah, this is like you're in the dark room developing film. You're a private detective developing film. Yeah. God, that is brilliant. That is gorgeous. Step a little closer to the light. Hold that right there. I'm going to bring that in there. Oh, I love it. So that's like, give me blue. Can we go blue now?
Yeah, we can absolutely go blue.
I want to see. Oh, hold that right there. I mean, so you can play around too and just find out like what works best for you and your client. Am I blocking you if I go right here?
No, you're fine.
I mean, this is gorgeous. Give me your eyes right there. Step in a little closer.
So we'll hold for a second because just the one thing we'll say is we're delayed a little bit.
Okay.
So we're just letting the images catch up.
Let them catch
Yeah,
up.
so we haven't gotten to blue yet.
Okay, well, blue is something to look forward to for you folks at home. The blue is coming. I mean, let's see.
So yeah.
Look at that. I mean, look at that kind of range you can get within
right.
seconds.
Ooh, we got the blue.
Within seconds. I just, you know, changing a light, no putting it down. This is why I love LED. I don't understand why everyone's not using LED. Look at these blue ones. Are they coming in now?
Yeah.
So we went from red to blue, no gels, no anything. That took us less than a second to go from dramatic red to dramatic blue.
Yeah, and just to everyone who's watching, if you're curious about how we're controlling this, Hive does have a phone app. So I'm just helping out by being the photo assistant here, and I'm just whatever is getting requested, I'm just dialing it in on our phone app, and as you can see, it's an instantaneous change. Anything you want. So we do have a question.
Oh, great.
All right. And so so one of the questions, what camera? So we've talked a little bit about the color settings on the camera. We talked about the lens settings, and we've talked about the lights that we're using, which are the Hive OmniColor LEDs, the 575. But we have a question in the chat, which is, what camera and lens are you using?
Oh, great question. Great question. I have been a Sony user forever. I mean, even before they came out with the A7, which people looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, you have a Sony? And now they're all cool. And I'm like, it's kind of like the person who liked the band, but then they got big, and now you're all like, no, that's mine. But anyway, it's an A7R3. And I absolutely love it. And then I have that G Master 85 millimeter 1.4, which is I think maybe one of the best portrait lenses out there, especially if we're talking headshots. I think 85 millimeter is just beautiful. People go longer, and it's all kind of a personal choice, but I personally love this G Master 85 millimeter.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, do we want to show any different color?
Yeah, let's go different. And I just want to say too about the app. You were talking about the app. John is controlling the app, but I've used it myself in the studio many times, and it's just as easy. It's so easy to hold it, and just kind of what I like too is you can like literally stand here and do it up, do it down, more or less. Yeah. And let's try that.
Nope. Let me go back.
Move a little closer. Can we get a little more yellowy?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm blocking. There we go. Don't cover up the star of the show. Oh, that's so great.
And yeah, so for everyone who's watching along, if you would like to check out the app, it is called the Hive Lighting Antenna. It's available on either Android or iOS, and you can download it now. And there's a demo mode, so you can follow along at home, and you can try out the app and kind of see what we're playing with.
And what Lee just did there, which is so good, that's what I always suggest to, if you're an actor out there watching this for some reason about headshots, is that she's in the moment, like what a good actor does. She's like, she wanted to laugh, she laughed. She, hopefully won't cry, but if we won't cry, go ahead. but it's like, that is so important to me, is that whenever you do show up for headshots, is to just be open and, feel whatever you're going to feel and put it down the barrel, which is what you'll see. One of those yellow shots where she's laughing. I don't know if that's come up yet.
I think we went.
And it was such a genuine, beautiful, such a genuine, beautiful laugh. Right there. I love that. And that's you, right? That's you. And that's what you're always after. That is what you're always after. All right. So we got the yellow. We've done this.
Do you want to go for some of our like beauty calibrations?
I do. Because I love the summer as one of my.
Yeah. So we offer a bunch of presets on our app. And what we're referencing is we have a couple of different things. We have a lot of our natural light sources. So if you don't have that window light available, but you want to try something like a sort of classic daylight, we also offer things like a sunrise.
I love.
If you want to try sunrise is going to give a very different feel. And then we also offer things like winter shade and golden hour.
Beautiful. Give me your eyes right there. Oh. So shuffle over this one a little bit. Sorry. Oops, that's not going to be in focus. I'm too close. Great. Beautiful.
Cool. And then one of my favorites actually is Twilight, if you want to check that out.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that cold feeling I was telling you about that I personally love.
And we'll see that catch up in about a second for everyone watching at home. It's a bit of a delay.
And now look at John with just pure anger. No.
Yeah, just
glare at him.
Channel how Jackson feels for me tricking him into this.
No, I'm having a blast. You kidding? This is great.
Rage, yeah. Great. So actually, I had a question for you, Jackson.
Yes.
Actually. Yeah. So I know that you work a lot in a studio with mixed lighting.
Yes.
And one of my questions is basically when you use a LED source like this, do you prefer to work with it as your key or your fill or your backlight, or do you do
It depends on the day. That is a really good question, John.
Yeah.
That it really depends on the day. Like, because as a guy who uses natural light and depends on that bounce from the buildings, if we get a cloudy day, which we get, May, June, this is going to be my key light, and I'm going to use the sun as I'm going to use that bounce as my fill. Now, on a regular, typical sunny day, that light coming off those buildings is powerful enough that I'll use this maybe as a hair light. Maybe not with this modifier, but maybe, or a kicker lights aside. I'll use it for that backdrop thing we talked about. But usually it just really depends on the day.
So it offers you a lot of flexibility.
Tons of flexibility, whatever. I mean, honestly, it makes me feel safe because when I first started shooting in that studio, before I had this light, on a cloudy day, I really would be like terrified. I'd be like, oh God, what am I going to do? And now I'm like prepared for any situation or any creative whim that comes my way, which happens a lot. Like I've started shooting with this light in the V flat, and I shine it onto the V flat, and then I bring a table out, and it's like an infinity white table into the light so whatever whim comes your way, you're free to experiment, which is really great.
Cool. So one of the other things that we actually offer on the app that I do want to take the opportunity to show is we have a set of preset correctives that are based on, really they're based actually after makeup. And so we do an overtone and an undertone. And so if you don't mind me cycling through them, we can kind of see which one works best for Alita. So here we go. Here is our cool amber, which is going to be not that different from what we saw.
Mm-hmm. You want to take a shot?
Yeah.
Love it.
And then we can do a cool bronze.
I mean, it's going to be hard. Alita's going to look good on everything we do.
Then we can do the cool rose.
Okay.
Cool violet.
Ooh, that is a cool violet.
Then we'll do a neutral amber.
That's a really nice one. I like that one a lot.
Neutral bronze.
For the viewers, which one of these is neutral bronze, or which one are we on?
We're on neutral bronze.
The
right?
last one is neutral bronze.
The last one is. So I think we're
That one.
This one right here is
Yep.
bronze?
Yeah, that's neutral bronze.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Cool.
Which makes it pretty easy to on the fly to cycle through some of these looks, or if you're having a day where you're not feeling that creative, you can just, hit a button and be like, oh, I like that, and shoot that. Takes away some of the pressure of having to come up with something.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the interesting things about the settings on the app is obviously, they're in there to be used as a tool, but they're also in there to be used as a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that's nice is once you dial in, say, like one of our preset colors, like I just throw up neutral rose. If you like that, but you want to change it, you can always then modify.
Right? Dial it down, add a little more warmth to it. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so we'll keep going through these if you don't mind. So
I don't
we're on
mind.
neutral rose right now.
Ooh, love it. It's a commercial for a watch right there. Bam. Oh, this is neutral.
And then this is neutral violet. So live is neutral violet. What's on screen for everybody is neutral rose.
And coming at you now. Boom.
So that'll be neutral violet. So, and then we'll go, yeah. So on screen is neutral rose, and then I just change it to warm amber. So you'll see in the background, obviously.
John, did you name all of these yourself?
I did. So embarrassingly enough, I am in charge of naming these things. So I've been outed. I am in charge of naming
How
these
painstaking
things.
was that process?
So we really wanted to try and it's a two-part thing because we wanted them to be useful, but we also wanted them to be evocative of something that you would want to use, right? So we could have just named them with sort of like a saturation and color temperature
that
number,
not helpful.
which we, that makes them replicable, but then doesn't really tell you what they're going to do for you.
Yeah.
And so what we were really inspired by, honestly, is makeup foundation. And there's a bunch of makeup foundations that kind of, are split into different directions. So you have both an overtone and an undertone.
Mm-hmm.
And so the undertones that we were looking at is kind of where we got our cool, our neutral, and our warm. And those are basically based around color temperature areas. So you're going to be the cools are going to be in that sort of 6,000 Kelvin. So if you want to get technical about it, and then the color portions where we do the bronze, the violet, the amber, and the rose, they're a reflection of a hue, like a saturation color, so it could be kind of just a red, right? But because we never wanted to go full saturation because they were subtle changes, we wanted to kind of reference something that would be the kind of the feel you were looking for.
Yeah.
So a little bit of an homage to the old beauty gels, like sort of, the peach frosts of
I
the
love
world.
that.
and then also a bit of an homage to something you might see like in Sephora if you're going shopping.
I love an homage, John.
That's what we do here. That's what we do. It's all an homage.
I love a good homage.
On that note,
That'll be a new color coming next year. Homage green.
Homage by Hive. On that note, can we try Warm's bronze?
Yeah, let's try a warm bronze. Well, I just brought it up because I find it helpful, like the naming of it, and I was just wondering, how that happened.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they're helpful. Okay, this is a warm rose. Hopefully they're helpful. Hopefully they give people a sense of where and what they'll be getting on camera. And then again, they can always modify.
Rose coming at you right there. You're seeing warm rose.
Yeah. Now here's warm violet.
Oh, I love this one. It's great. Beautiful. Beautiful. That'll be coming to you live any second. There it is.
Okay, so we have another question
Great.
that I can read off to you. So obviously there is a bunch of options from us, but we chose to show the 575C as the light that we're using. When it comes to choosing lights, what are kind of the things that you look for? What are the things that motivate you to make a choice around a different light fixture?
That's a really great question. So for me, soft is, which is going to be the modifier, but I have, like any photographer, trial and error. So I basically started with flashes, built up to strobes, and there are pluses and minuses for all that stuff. But what I'm looking for is output, easeability to use, what's the setup process like? Is it complicated? Is it confusing? And what are just sometimes what I could afford, was a big thing.
Sure.
But, what I've come to discover is, again, I hate to keep harping on, but the LED thing is what I've just become most comfortable with, primarily because I can just see what I'm going to get before I shoot it. Because I found I was wasting a lot of time with strobes, especially when you're mixing daylight and regular. You're like, oh, it's too much. Oh, it's not enough. Oh, I don't like the color. Give me gel on that. This is just like, exactly what you're going to get. You can set it exactly how you like it. So I personally am just looking for an LED light at this point is all I really want to mess with. And, for a modifier that's going to give me beautiful soft light, which means it's going to be large and, hopefully double filtered. It's just this kind of setup is my go-to. That's personally what I'm looking for. Everybody's different though. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think that was a great. I think that was a great answer. Along those lines, actually, we have another question as well, which is kind of just a process thing. Which is, do you like to set your color temperature in camera and then change with the light, or do you prefer to set your light to a single setting and then kind of modify in camera?
That's a great question too. Again, I guess it depends on where I'm shooting. Like, so if I'm shooting in my studio and my key light is now the daylight, I'm gonna try to see what that's giving me and then change my camera settings. If my key light is this, I'm going to use this to kind of set the tone. So it really depends on what I'm keying off of, but I would say 90% of the time I just fix it in my camera. That's just kind of what I like to do.
Sure. So basically you kind of, you try and find what the neutral is for your camera, set your camera to that. And then if you have to modify afterwards,
yes,
you'll adjust the light.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then it also kind of comes down to what you have control over. So if you're
right,
if you're being dominated by, the daylight, and that's going to dictate.
I can't change that.
You can't change it, right?
I can't change. I can't dial that one down. Yeah. God,
so
give me 55.
Exactly. So it's all going to be about, in that situation, trying to change basically the lighting and the camera to match that. And what's nice about the lighting, and this is, I think, one of the benefits that's really worth mentioning for doing both headshots, but any kind of photography really, is the ability of a continuous source like Hive's lights to be able to be modified and adjusted to actually match not only your camera settings, but also to match the things you can't control, right? Which is maybe sometimes you're shooting outdoors, maybe you've got mixed lighting setup, maybe you've got lights you can't turn off in the room, and you've got to make those match. And so that's one of the real key features of our lights. I think one of the other things that people might be curious about is, we're using the 575. That's a 500 watt LED. Obviously, it gives us a big, soft, beautiful source. But there are other options out there in terms of smaller light sources. So Hive produces different light sources, all the way from a 25 watt version, which is our 25CX, all the way up to the 575, which is our 500 watt version. We also have a 50 watt, 100 watt, and a 200 watt. And really the differences you're going to see there, and I think, you know, Jackson's used a few of them, is just output, right? And so I know for Jackson, like output's huge for you.
Yes, it is the most important thing for me is the output.
And so that's kind of why you go with the 575. But strictly speaking, all the controls that you can see on the 575 are available throughout our entire product line. So one of the other things that's probably worth mentioning, and you know, we don't have this set up right now, but I know you've done this with like our beauty dishes. You can actually use hard reflectors as well.
That's right.
So all of our lights are ProPhoto compatible, so they are able to be used with a wide variety of modifiers. And so some of them are third-party ones, and all these modifiers are going to be available to you on B&H. So one of the great things about doing this with B&H is, you know, we're a lighting manufacturer, but we don't manufacture everything, and we're a big believer in being able to work with other people's tools, especially when they do a really good job of it. So you can get a lot of modifiers from Hive directly, but we're also able to work with everything from Broncolor, from Bowens, from ProPhoto, from Chimera, and a wide variety of other third-party manufacturers. So not to put you on the spot, not to find out if we're going to screw this up, do you want to try and do the background thing?
Let's do it. I like a
right.
challenge. Now,
Okay.
for everyone at home, this is like Evel Knievel, right? I might not make the jump, but you know, we're going to try. So don't hold it against us if we don't.
Okay, so what we'll do really quick is we're going to spin the light that's on me right now off of me, and we're going to put it onto our subject here. And then we're going to light the backdrop
Yes.
that we have.
Now, normally this would be done. I would flag. You can come forward, actually.
Yeah.
I would flag, kind of stand in this general area. I would flag this light completely. I wouldn't have the modifier on it. It would just be the Hive light bare.
Yeah.
And then I would put a V flat right here, so none of that spilled onto her.
Right.
But, you know, we're, you know.
Okay, so I'm going to change.
What do you
so
think, John?
We're going to leave this one neutral.
Alita, what's your favorite color?
Yeah.
Red.
Okay, let's go red.
Back to sub red.
Give me a second to pull this up, and we'll see if we can make this happen.
I mean, this looks pretty dope, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so we're gonna need to, I think what we'll need to do probably is we probably need to spin that to spill behind her a bit more.
Yeah.
Keep going. And then I'm gonna bring the output on this one down.
I just don't want it to, well, you're right. So yeah, right there. That's pretty good. So we're getting a little spill, but really not that bad. So check that out.
Right,
Now
so-
let's say, you know what? I was wrong about the red. I was wrong. It happens. It's very rare, but it happens. Let's go blue. I think a blue is going to look really good on you.
Okay, so we're a little bit delayed again, as per always, but just in case everyone's wondering, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to show the ability to light the backdrop with one color using the lights, and basically switch from a white background, which is what we have right now, to a red background. Is it working?
Just disconnected here.
Okay. Once again, our tether has disconnected.
I didn't feel it this time in my soul. This time I did not feel
This
it.
time was a surprise. But as we warned everyone who's watching, this was going to be the moment when everything broke down.
Yeah.
Um,
Evel Knievel. But I saw it in Cameron. Let me tell you, John, it's a real showstopper.
All right, so we'll go. Do we need to shoot it again to get it to work?
Yeah.
Just a second.
Okay. All right. We've been told by our high-end technical support team that we are to.
We have a
to
team
hold.
of 50 people
Yeah, they're
working around the clock back here.
thousands.
Yeah.
Fill the studio space. So speaking of the space, actually, this is a brand new space for us here at Hive. So I'll do a little pitch on that, which is if you are in the LA area or you're ever in the LA area in the near future, this is a showroom that we just opened a month ago. And it is available for you to come in and test with all of our different lighting products. You can see some of them on the wall and in sort of the display, but we have a large demo inventory that you're more than welcome to come and check out. We also offer a demo program. So if you are not able to come to Los Angeles to do this test, but you are interested in trying out any of our products, if you go to our website, there's a large button on the top that says demo request. Press that button, fill out the form, and we will ship you any lights you want for a week to try out. So the only cost to you is covering that shipping cost if you're far away, but you can also come pick it up. You can have a friend drop by and fly them to wherever you are as their checked luggage. That's probably the least efficient way to do it, but it is a possibility. So they are available. It is a free demo program. So if anything right now tickles your fancy, please jump on the website and give it a shot.
Yeah, and also
I'm going with my NPR voice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we give it up for John's silky smooth voice? That you can't teach, folks. You
No,
can't
no,
teach
yeah.
it.
I'll be doing a jazz hour actually after this wraps up.
Oh,
So,
I can't wait to listen.
yeah, we're gonna be exploring bebop.
The Quiet
and-
Storm.
yeah, it's all Shaka Khan.
Yeah.
actually. It's just all.
I love it. And I will say, if you are here in Los Angeles, and this beautiful headquarters is downtown, and it is a beautiful building, beautiful space. There is parking, which to anyone in Los Angeles knows that's a big deal.
That's true. We have a parking lot.
Yeah.
We do validate. We're
Yeah.
we're nice like that.
Yeah, so you're not
So-
going to just be stuck on some street parking situation.
Yeah, yeah. You do have to buy something for validation. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You know, it's- that's fine. All right, how are we doing on the technical end? It looks really
it
great
loo-
now, actually, on the feed. Well, I don't know.
Is it up?
Our resolution's still a little bit low. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes it looks good. Sometimes it.
People at home can see what we're doing though without
That's
seeing the
true.
photo. Like you
Yeah.
can see. I mean,
let's try another. Let's try a couple colors while
yeah,
and just kind of see it
and
live.
you guys can kind of see the effect, and you can imagine what it would look like with the camera. And typically, when I do this, I use a V flat. So I'll put a V flat behind her and light the V flat, and then I'll use another V flat to block. That looks gorgeous, John. I like
let's try
this
that.
choice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a couple mental pictures.
It's,
I can't send those to you, but believe me, they were beautiful.
exactly. We're all going to work together to imagine a fully
Let's
functioning photo shoot
Let's as a
together.
community just imagine.
Exactly.
But you can
Acting.
see,
This is why it's helpful to have acting experience as a headshot photographer.
yeah, you can. But as you can see, honestly, you can see the effect at home, and it works wonders. So I know as a headshot photographer, the battle is backdrops, right? If you're working in a space and you need backdrops, and this gives you so much versatility, it's good to have regular backdrops. But if all you need is a V flat or even a white wall, I even light the black side of the V flat, which gives it a blue hue on that black V flat, gives it a very cool tone. So,
especially for saturated colors, actually, one of the things that people often don't realize is that to show more saturation, you actually don't want it to necessarily be brighter. You want it to get it richer. You actually want to have it be maybe a stop below what you're actually shooting at, so that it actually shows up as color. Because eventually on any sensor, if it's too bright a source, no matter what the actual color is, it'll start reading as white. Right? It'll be overexposed because the sensor works both to capture the color, but also at a certain point, you're just blowing it out, even though it's a color source. So actually one of the ways to affect that is to use a darker backdrop, right? So either a darker gray or even a black can really show color.
It really works great, the black. I mean, it really does. I didn't know that was the technical reason. That's why.
That's why I'm here as you're lighting.
And to hear that information with such a silky smooth delivery.
Exactly. Well, that's actually the silky smooth delivery is something I've learned as a photo assistant. So I don't know if you know this, but one of my backgrounds before coming to Hive was as a photo assistant. So I did a lot of lighting for photographers.
Oh, wow.
And so I
Great
worked
way
as a
to learn.
cinematographer as my background, but especially with continuous sources. And that's actually informs a lot of our design, because one of the things that always drove me crazy when I was a photo assistant was we'd have these beautiful modifiers for strobe or flash, and then I would have to go out and get hot lights, so tungsten sources, incandescent lights, HMIs, and bring them out. And I wasn't able to use any of these great modifiers for the continuous portion, and it always drove me crazy because obviously, like, the beauty of a beauty dish is its form factor, and if you can't use it,
what's the point?
What's the point? So so we're really happy with that.
Changing the way it's done.
We have a question while we're boring people.
Boring.
Questions are coming in. Jackson, why do you choose the modifiers you choose?
That's a great question. I tend to just go with a large, softbox, right? In whatever form that comes in. It can be, octabox, it can be square. Softbox, and the larger the better for me.
Yeah.
Because it's about soft light, right? The larger the source, the softer the light, the closer we get it. I mean, let's have you step in here. I mean, look at this beautiful bathed in, come closer. Look at that beautiful blue light bathed on her. So that's what I sound like Jeff Goldblum. I'm turning into Jeff Goldblum. Look, I mean, look at the light. It's like bathed. Beautiful. That's a bad Jeff Goldblum, but But I typically go with a large softbox to answer that question. That's just what I like. I've done beauty dishes, and for certain things, I personally don't like it for headshots as much. But for a beauty shoot, beauty dish, beauty shoot, or something more artistic, some portraits, beauty dishes are really great and really beautiful.
So that's actually a good question, which is, so sometimes when it comes to, the difference between portraiture or fashion and headshots is getting out of the way of the actual subject, right? Which is to say, you don't necessarily want to draw too much attention to the photography.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. I don't want you to see me in that shot. I want you to see Alita, and if I have a light over here that's blazing across her cheek, and then the hair is just so, and that to me is beautiful and it could work. But I think like the name of the game is authenticity. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it, especially that's a trend now, at least in Los Angeles, authentic you. So I, like you said it so beautifully, John, I just want to get out of the way. I want to give a beautiful light, a simple light and a beautiful light, and have them just radiate themselves. And then, obviously do it at 1:4.
Yeah. So another question, obviously you have a background as an actor.
Yes.
So that's kind of a great way to get into headshots, right? You've been on the other side of the camera.
Totally.
But do you have any advice for someone who is either starting out as a headshot photographer or is interested in maybe even the idea, or even as an actor and is going, maybe if I bought a camera, I could do this. Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah. I mean, the only advice I could give you is start simple, because you don't have a lot of money if you're starting out. You don't have a lot of clients. So hopefully you have an apartment that is like north facing or south facing, which would be perfect. And then you can just use that light. If not, you can get something great and just set up your apartment. I have a friend who shoots all in his apartment, no natural light, and he's got a couple of lights and flashes, and he's able to do beautiful headshots. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing, is trust your instinct, try stuff. When I first started shooting headshots, I was terrified to step outside the box at all of what I thought, because you feel so much pressure because this is someone's headshot, and you want it to be good, and you want them to get out, and you want them to get in those auditions. And so yes, that's all important, but don't be afraid to try stuff, especially when you're starting out, because you'll maybe find your look. That's how you find your look. That's how you find your voice. What am I good at? What's my angle here? You only find that through trial and error. Don't necessarily buy all the most expensive stuff right away if you're starting out. Like
except for Hive lights, definitely buy some Hive.
Obviously. But camera wise, I went with a cheaper camera body, and I spent the money on a lens because I thought that was more important. Give it time, because it's going to take time when you're building. It's going to take time to build a name for yourself, and it's not going to happen overnight. And but if you love it, it won't matter. You'll just keep doing it, and that'll shine through the photos too, I think.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. And yeah, I mean, I think probably the only thing I would echo there is just do it, right? Like just go shoot.
Yeah.
That was always the best advice I received when I was starting out in photography, which is, it's that old saying like, you got to do something like 10,000 times kind of thing. And so you just get started on that count, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about the idea that's going to take a long time, but just go shoot, get your friends to let you take photos of them.
100%.
Grab your phone, start there. Even,
everybody needs
siblings,
photos.
do you have friends? Everyone needs photos.
Everybody nowadays, LinkedIn, no matter what your job is, maybe Tinder,
and you can start, and you can, and maybe if you don't want to start, no, honestly, your buddy wants to make a dating profile, help them out.
Yeah.
Your mom wants to Facebook photo. Like, don't, just jump in there and offer in total seriousness, because everyone has something they need a photo for.
It's such a great point.
And don't be afraid of the idea that, the headshot game is, we all think of it as actors, especially, we're based in Los Angeles. So we all think about it very much for talent, on-screen talent. But honestly, it's a big thing for corporate work. It's a big thing for business. It's a big, as you said, like LinkedIn. And so, just maybe your uncle, needs a new photo for his lawn repair business, whatever.
And don't be afraid to shoot, like John's saying, people for free, obviously, when you're starting to build a portfolio. If you have nothing, maybe go to an office and be like, I'll shoot everybody in here for free, and then you have a portfolio, and you can say, I shot this company's all their headshots. Right. And here they are on the website.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do that when you're starting out. Somebody said, I read something the other day where I think Michelangelo was asked how to be good, and he's like, just draw every day, paint every day.
Right.
Same thing, shoot every day, even if it's terrible. I started as a street photographer, and that was something I could do every day. Like no one can stop you. People had tried. That's why I stopped doing it. It got too confrontational, but you can find a way to shoot every day, and it doesn't have to be necessarily willing participants, you know, with street photography, that's what it is.
Can I also suggest?
Yes, please. Pets.
Oh, pet photography. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
Pets.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's actually like really challenging.
It
I
really
mean, like
challenging.
it's really good, but it's like really challenging. And
Yeah.
kids are hard too. Kids photography is really hard.
Very hard.
Actually.
Sounds
people,
like things.
people who do that well are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Sounds
think,
like things are going well over there.
I think we may have hit the end of our technical abilities. So in good news, that's okay. I think we kind of got across all our ideas.
Yeah.
We knew that the last thing would be the hardest.
Yeah.
And it failed for a reason we didn't expect at
And-
all.
and
which
honestly-
was not the lighting, and that's really
And
for
not the
me-
lighting. And it didn't fail, honestly. It didn't fail because you can see what it does. And that's really all we
Yes.
wanted to communicate. Whether you saw it through the camera or not, you can see what it does.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any. Oh, one more question, and I probably have an answer to this too. But do you ever worry about with big soft sources, because that's what you love? Do you
Yes.
ever worry about controlling spill? Is that an issue for you?
Yeah, I mean it does, but that's where in my studio I have V flats or flags, and you can really control any of that spill with a V flat or a flag, or positioning your subject different, or moving the light into a different way. There's a lot of
Yeah.
different ways to control spill, and sometimes you know what, the spill looks awesome. You know, like sometimes I didn't even want it, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's great. you know,
Yeah.
so.
I think that's a great advice as well, which is like lean into your imperfections, right? Like
Yeah.
when things go a little bit wrong, like see how they look. It's not necessarily the end of the world. Try them out, push them, see if you're getting to a new look. And then
Yeah.
the other thing that I think is good advice, kind of what you said there as well, is you come in with a plan. Maybe you're going to shoot a certain way. If you need to, don't ever be afraid to rearrange everything. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's time and there's effort, and you do want to make sure that, if it's a client, they feel like, you're on top of stuff, right? You don't want them to be wandering around while you spend too much time changing everything.
Yeah.
But as you can see here, things are going to go wrong, right? And so we are theoretically all professionals here on this, and we're still having technical issues. We're never going to forgive our technical team for that. But
All 50.
all 50 of the high
Yeah,
definition.
yeah. I'm talking to you.
But we're still able to hopefully get across kind of some of the principles behind the lighting that we're doing, and I think Jackson's done a great job of explaining stuff. And Alita's been an amazing subject. But I think with that being said, Scott, unless there's any other questions, we are probably ready to wrap it up.
That's you guys are ready to get out of the hot seat and go.
I've riffed for as long as I can.
We did actually get another question from Kelvin on Facebook. He said, how's the handling with respect to the ISO? What is the maximum you use, taking into account the power of the direct light you use?
Okay, yeah. So how willing are you to go up on that ISO?
You know, with the technology they have now in the Sonys, you can go pretty high. I don't like to go any higher in a headshot than 1,000, but you can go way higher than that, and it looks pretty good. Like 1,600, like 16,000. But I live 800 to 500 is kind of my sweet spot, but you can go pretty high nowadays and not be, it's something you're going to see. So you'll know immediately. You'll take it and you're like, oh, that's not going to work. But yeah, I mean, you can go, when I first started, I wouldn't go any higher than 400. That was like my top.
Right.
I'm like, no more than 400. It's going to be a worthless, grainy shot. And now it's like, it's crazy. You can go really high.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Cool. I was going to say, I don't, if I have to shoot over 400, I just don't shoot. So.
What is it?
Scott's a traditionalist. Scott won't go over 400.
Won't go over 400.
No, yeah. That's okay, Scott.
It's
I know
about principle.
I know people who won't go over 100. It's a 100 ISO, F11, or it doesn't count. And you're like, all right, okay, I got
Or
it.
just wrap it up and cancel the shoot for the day. That's it.
Fine. Yeah.
I like to live dangerously.
I love it. And one thing I did want to comment on, just from an outsider perspective, for those of you who are at home who may be thinking, because Jon is with Hive or because Jackson is demoing the Hive lights, that they've got kind of a bias. which usually I would say maybe they do, but not these guys. But I will say, having worked in the store for many years and worked with a lot of the Hive products, because I used to manage a lot of the products on the floor, I can tell you in terms of build quality, I know that kind of came up a little bit. Like their reflectors and their lights just themselves are really built like tanks. And I won't incriminate myself here or any of the guys at the store who may or may not have dropped any of the lights once or twice.
That's what happened. I knew it.
You could send the bill to somebody else, John. Okay. but I mean, obviously, you might get a little ding or a little scratch here and there because obviously you're dropping something. But in terms of the functionality and the use of the product still, I mean, I personally was blown away at the fact that it could take such a drop and a spill and still be able to function in its proper capacity. And that's not an endorsement now to go like hang off the side of your roof and try to see how far you can drop it from and, see what happens there. But it's just kind of a testament to the fact that they do care about the product that they put out. And, hearing it from somebody with an outside judgment who's not biased towards anything versus somebody, from the brand, I think it just helps a little bit. So, a little pat on the back to you guys.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank you first and foremost, John, and all the folks at Hive Lighting for setting this up, sponsoring the event today. We really appreciate it. Definitely want to thank Jackson and Alita. You guys were absolutely great, and we'd love to have you guys back anytime. Your energy was great, and I mean, you guys did all the hard work for us, and then you got hit with the technical difficulties, and you ran with it still. So that was awesome, and we appreciate it. And obviously everybody at home, thanks for tuning in. We hope that this was useful and helpful. We'd love to hear what you think. So if you've got an opinion, I'm sure you do. You're a person, you exist. Shoot it to us, BH Event Space on Instagram. Let us know how we can improve. John, where can they catch up with all the Hive Lighting products and stuff that's coming out? Where can they keep up to date?
Yeah, so follow us at Hive Lighting on Instagram or at Hive Lighting on Twitter. And then you can also check out the Hive Lighting YouTube channel, as well as hivelighting.com. So it's same thing over and over again. But yeah, we'd love to have you come by the showroom. We love getting feedback on our social media channels, and you can always email us info@Hive Lighting about anything in particular, especially if you want to try out a demo.
Awesome. And then if I know Jackson and Alita gave their Instagram stuff in the beginning, but in case anybody, decides just to skip to the end and get it over with.
Yeah, if you guys can go ahead and
want to throw it out again.
Where should we find you, Jackson?
I'm at Jackson Davis Photo.
And I'm just at Alita Lachey.
So it's at Alita Lachey, if you couldn't hear.
And if you wanted to go to my website too, it's jacksondavisphotography.com.
If you want to check it out, no big deal.
Yeah, everyone should check it out.
Yeah.
Follow these guys. They're great.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thanks again to you guys over there. We really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. That's all the time we have for you tonight. This has been another edition of the B&H Virtual Event Space. We'll catch you next time.